as I can see you. Okay, you guys, I think I'm back up. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up and stuff. For some reason, I think our internet um, uh, connection just dropped right on out. So sorry about that, you guys. But I think we're good. Okay, great. And then give me a thumbs up over there on YouTube. All of a sudden I had gotten all of these red blinking lights, which never means a good thing. Yes, great. Okay, perfect. Then I am ready in 3, 2, and 1, giving myself a countdown. And there we have it. Okay. Hi, everybody. It is Friday, and it is time to have some fun with my new pumpkin spice mix. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. And we're gonna, I have a whole bunch of ideas for you about these, right? So, sorry, I had something to drink earlier. Now I'm all, not that kind of drink. It's still early, but I have some water here. So sorry, my throat's giving me a little bit of an issue, but I'm all good. Pumpkin spice mix. Okay, so these mixes I do periodically, right? And I love, I do a whole bunch of different mixes. Janice does mixes. We have a lot of fun with them. But I've been on this kick with the check glass lately, right? And so this is my second or third, I can't remember. The last one I did was Jewel Box. So this one is pumpkin spice, right? And so the pumpkin spice trend, and Drea wrote about it in the newsletter. It was really funny. When I was naming it, when I had the beads and I was looking at it, and I'll show you here in just a second, and I was laughing, and I think I told Drea or Janice or Karen, I can't remember. I said something like, well, I'm going to call it pumpkin spice because I want to be in on the trend, and everyone thought it was a great idea. So I was all right, I'm going to keep that name. So, but it does remind me of definitely of fall. It has a definite fall vibe to it. And I don't know about you guys, but in the fall, it was always time. I always thought it was time for crafts, right? In the fall for me, because that's when school would start, right? It would start in September. And I went to this little country school, right? We didn't go to school in town. I went to school out in the country. And our teachers were pretty crafty, right? So we'd have we made things like out of, popsicle sticks and all of this stuff. Well, one of the crafts that my teachers would do, our school was kind of old fashioned. It had these big, big windows that pushed outwards. I don't know if you guys remember, I don't even know what those are called, but the back of the classroom had all windows, and there's a little handle on the bottom set of windows, right, that you would turn from being down to being up, and you'd push it out, right? And so we would always have the windows open, and because there's no air conditioning or anything, right? And it was still hot in Gilroy, even into October, it was still warm. And so we'd always have the windows opened and stuff. And so in the back, there was a front part of the school, then long, long buildings, and then the back part of the school. And the back part of the school had these maple trees and stuff in it, right? And it was really, I don't know, it was beautiful, beautiful there. My mom went to the same grammar school as I did. Big shout out to Rucker School in Gilroy, California. Rucker Cougars, we're going, representing. And so what we would do is we would go in the back, and I remember this from several teachers, and I don't know if they all got together in the teacher's lounge, and right, that was in the 70s. So the 70s, all the teachers would be in the teacher's lounge, right, smoking, going, what are we going to do with these kids? And so probably one of the teachers, right, popped up and said, I know, we're going to make leaf pictures for our windows. So every year, we would go out during one period and we'd gather leaves, and then we would kind of artfully arrange those leaves on some wax paper, right? You'd lay them out, and then you'd put another, another sheet of wax paper on the top. And then you'd get like a dish towel or something. You'd put that down on the ironing board, another dish towel on top, and you'd iron, right? And we ironed, right? The teacher didn't iron, we did. As right? Sure, let those third graders use the iron. Sounds like a great plan. And we would iron the wax paper so the wax would melt and the leaves would be smushed in between, right? And then we would decorate the big windows all along with like these falling leaves, right? And then a little later we'd take them down and we'd take them home and Gran would put them up in the window and stuff. But on the back of the school, because I think it was like first grade through the fifth grade were in that long building, there would be leaves on the back of the windows, and it was so beautiful, right? It was so beautiful. So that memory, that craft memory of fall, because at the beginning of the school year, right, there's, you feel like you've got a lot of time, or at least I think the teachers felt like they did. So we were all into crafts and all into making stuff, and I don't know, we even knit, I think. We did all kinds of things with that, right? But so fall really has a crafty flair to me. And so that's why I wanted to do something that kind of had a really fall feel to it. Also, Gran loved browns, right? She loved browns. And so this is also, she would have loved this. She would have said, okay to send that one to me right now in a little bag. Put in a little bag, honey, and send it down to me. So that's what she would have said. So so this mix, so without further ado, let me actually show it to you, right? So here is this pumpkin spice mix. Let me get a little yay, my mom's on. Yes, the shout out for Rucker School. That's right, Rucker Cougars. My gran taught 4-H, and she also taught sewing back in my mom's day. We didn't have sewing when I was at Rucker, but Gran taught sewing at Rucker. And my mom, of course, my mom would have rather have been reading a book, I think, but of course my mom had to go to sewing class too, because since her mother was teaching it, right? So here it is, pumpkin spice in all of its glory. So you start with the button. The button is 13 millimeter, I think. Let me re-zero it. 13.5 millimeters about. It's a check glass button, right? And it's so funny that, yes, Gita is saying over on the Facebook feed, this mix screams redhead. It really does, And in the 90s, I don't know if you guys remember like hairstyles and hair colors of the 90s, right? But in the 90s, we were all redheads, right? We were kind of that burgundy, kind of dark red. I don't know, maybe you guys weren't, but I certainly was. But yeah, this is a total autumn collection. I think since, my many hairstyles and stuff have changed, I'm probably not that autumn I thought I was. I probably am now, I don't know, winter. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm sorry. Make sure, give me another thumbs up. Our internet connection, they're still working on the street outside, so I'm afraid that our internet connection is a little tenuous. So hang in there. Let me know if, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me again. Okay, good. Okay, I see the thumbs up. And I see that. Make sure, YouTubers, also let me know if you can hear this. Sorry, the stream drops out, but if it does again, I'll just reconnect it. So bear with me there. Sorry about that. So the pumpkin spice collection, we put in half this morning and it's sold out already. And so we're putting in a second grouping, the second batch of pumpkin goes in at noon our time, so noon Pacific time. So right now it's 10:48 a.m. on the West Coast. Okay, so again, sorry about that connection, but I think you guys can see this. All right. So yeah, sorry about that. I'll reconnect if the stream drops again. So I wanted to use, so it'll be back in. So if you missed it earlier, because we're sold out already, if you missed it earlier, what you want to do is you want to go to beadshop.com. And if you see anything that you want to put in your cart, put it in your cart, shop beforehand, right? Then when this goes live at noon, throw this in your cart and check out, and you'll be in good shape, okay? So I added some small beads to this mix. These are all 4 millimeters right here. Can you see that? So let's start cutting these up, right? Since this one's mine, I can do whatever I want with it. And I know that it would be super nice to do like a sample for you guys before this, but I'm sorry, that bandwidth I just don't have. So for these mixes, I like giving you some ideas about them, and then I like having you run wild with it, right? So this is your fall project with that, okay? So let's take a look here. And let me get this window back. Sorry about that. Let's cut some of these up. So the 4 millimeter, this is like a little cut. It's about the size of maybe it's about like a 3 millimeter-ish, but it has a tiny little window in it. It's kind of hard to see, but they're just charming, right? I love them. And then we have other projects that I've done with the mixes. Drea is linking it. Or no, sorry, Geeta's linking it over on the Facebook feed. But you can look under Curated Box Mix Projects, and you'll see a lot of those projects there. So I'm going to cut that one. I'm going to keep these separate. The one that I did earlier with Jewel Box, I put them into one big dish, right? Which I loved because I was going to string with them kind of randomly. But here, I'm going to put these all in their little separate dishes. I love these triangles, okay? So here are all the 4 millimeters right there, okay? So it's a great start. And they're small. They're a 4 millimeter fire polish, a 4 millimeter druck or round, and then that little, like, it's almost like a cathedral bead. And it's a little bit small. It's about a 4 mil, I guess. We can see it, okay? So it's these guys right here. Really, really pretty. And there's a good photo of it online. You can really see the beads really nicely too. Karen did a great job on the photo. Looks really pretty. Then we're gonna size up. I did a few other beads. This is a bead that I've never put in a mix before, and I adore it. This is like a daisy spacer, but it's glass and big, right? So you know my love of daisy spacers, right? The metal ones we carry. Look at that daisy, right? So if you want to compare it, and this would be fun to put into your project. These are the metal daisy spacers. Oops, and of course I've dropped them all over the table. Hang on. So you can see that? That's our regular daisy, and this is our glass daisy spacer. And it measures, I'll tell you, about 5.5 millimeters across, or I can't hold these in my hand and measure at the same time. About 2 millimeters wide. Okay. So so I love them. A daisy spacer is like a bead shop classic, but in glass, it kind of ratchets it up a notch, right? I dig it. So there's that one. Then I couldn't pass up a rondelle. It's a 3x5 rondelle, and I got it in kind of this topaz with mercury or something. I don't know. It's good times. I love it. So that's there. Okay. Then I'm really into rounds for some reason. And you guys know the melons. I got the melons in kind of our standard melon size that we carry at 6 millimeter. And then I got a 6 millimeter druck, which is a fancy name for a round bead. Now these are etched and they're hard to see, but these are what they do is they put an etching solution on the top. They coat the glass. They have the glass and they coat the glass and they etch some of that coating away. So it has like kind of like a moon surface feel to it. I can't really describe it any other way. And it also has a real metal feel to it, right? So so you know how I feel about metal. So let me cut these two up. The melon. And, you know, this is kind of the green part of the pumpkin, right? But pumpkin spice actually isn't pumpkin flavored, right? It's the spices that go into things with pumpkin, right? Like pumpkin pie or spice cake, pumpkin cake, or whatever. Whoops. One went on the floor, but I think I caught most of them. Okay, so there it is there. Okay. And then, let's widen this up. Let's put that button in the center. Then I go into some specialty beads. Now, we have one lone bead on the website that's called the Baroque kit, right? And the Baroque, we have it in, it's like in a purple or something, I think, and we have it back in stock. It was out of stock for a while. This is that same Baroque bead, but in mustard. And again, it's a cathedral cut, right? Meaning that there's a coating on the outside, different colored glass on the inside, and then it's cut or faceted there in the center to pull the glass underneath out, right? And Stamili is asking about are these beads going to be available separately? They're not, actually. I mean, we may have variations on them, but when I buy these, I pretty much buy them out. So, I don't know. It's not to say that we won't ever have them, but these are kind of kit unique, I guess, right? Unique to the kit. Then, before I cut these up, these little sunburst lozenges, right? Let me measure this one so you guys have a measurement for it. Yeah, the caliper is so handy. It's 8.2 millimeter from hole to hole, and side to side, it's just a little wider, 8.3. And people ask me all the time, they're okay, why don't you give the numbers in inches as well as in millimeters? Well, let me tell you the history of that. Let me measure this, number one, and then I'll talk to you about it. So when in the bead world, as in a lot of manufacturing worlds, right, the products would sometimes originate in Europe, or the craftsmen had come over to Europe, to the States, to work in manufacturing, right? So, especially with beads, most beads back in the day, and wire and stuff like that, were made in Europe, especially these glass beads, made in what was known as Bohemia, then Czechoslovakia, and now the Czech Republic, some in Germany, right? And so the beads were always measured in millimeters because that's the European form of measurement, right? Metric. So here, even in the States where we don't use the metric system as much, it's become the standard for a lot of things like screws, little bits and parts, things like that. You hear them referred to a lot in millimeters. And millimeters, since there are 10 millimeters to a centimeter, right? They're really small units of measurement. It's very easy to get a very precise measurement on it, right? And so, like in the jewelry world, when we're talking about metal and we talk about gauge and stuff as well, not only do we talk about gauge, but we also measure metal in millimeters, right? How thick is it? So this guy here in millimeters, it's just shy of 14 millimeters. If I hit it here, it's 0.54 inches, or just a little over a half an inch long, okay? So if inches to millimeter conversion also sometimes get you, right? You can do this little, hit it back and forth with the millimeters to inches, and you'll kind of get used to seeing what that looks like, right? So let's look at it this way. 10.5 millimeters, or in inches. Oh, it's a little bigger than, a little under half an inch, a little bigger than a quarter of an inch, right? So maybe like 3/8 of an inch or so, about there. Okay. So I remember, so talking about grammar school, right? I don't know if you guys remember. I was in grammar school in the 70s, and we had that big push to convert to metric. I was all in it, right? Because I found metric to be so much easier than our than our inches, form of measurement here in the States. But it never quite caught, right? Our metric, the metric system here in the U.S. So it's so we're stuck with measuring everything in inches. But it's fun, But just know how to convert, right? So 1 inch, and this is what Gita has said, put up 1 inch equals 25 millimeters equals an inch. So that's a great standard that we can look at. So here, this one, 17.5 inches. So if we know that 25 millimeters is an inch, this is a little under an inch, and indeed it's 0.68 inches, which is about almost 3/4 of an inch, right here. Okay. In length, and this is a spindle bead, and in width, 0.29, there we go, 7.4 millimeters. So it's a nice size. We all know and love a spindle bead. All right, you guys, sorry about that bottoming out again, but I think we're back. Just as I was showing the most exciting of beads in the whole collection, right? It's the pumpkin, it's the big melon bead, and this is a big one, okay? So it looks like a pumpkin, acts like a pumpkin. And give me some thumbs up when your screen unfreezes, okay? So I'm going to put these down here. And this one, from hole to hole, is almost 10 millimeters. It's a nice, big, chunky bead. And if Janice was a bead, she'd be a melon bead, right? This is a Janice bead, right? It's so good. I love it. And so from side to side on one of the spines, it's about 10.5. Okay. So these are, and you get, I don't know how many are on a strand, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 beads on the strand. So they're delicious. So I thought this was the pièce de résistance on the mix. So there it is. So that's what you get. Okay? That's it. And it's a good amount of things to play with. Okay? So so let me show you some of the projects I think that these will work with. Yes, if I were a bead, I would be an antique brass shadow. That's correct, Gita. That is what I would be, usually. I think depends on the day, but that is true, so true. I'm going to put these guys up here, so I've got them kind of around so I can access them. And yeah, it is gold, a gold wash in the spine of the melon. And the melon, it may look kind of brown on the video screen, but it's kind of has a mottled appearance to it. And if I hold it up to the light, which I'm doing right now, it's a little bit of transparent mixed with a little bit of opaque. So it's cool, right? I really love it. And let me move these to the side. Okay. Oh, here's I thought I had one for the melons. There we go. I'll put the button in with them too. Okay. So let's look at projects. Okay. And let me start. I think that this is one of our poetry projects. There we go, you guys. I think I am back up. I hope you can find it. Sorry about that internet connection. Let me just make sure that we are running over on Facebook. Sorry, you guys, I'm as frustrated by it as you are. Sorry. Oh. But I think you guys, yep, I think I'm back up. Sorry about that, kids. Sorry. All right, I'm just going to keep refreshing it. If it ends, just hang in there. I'm going to have to wrap it up soon so the internet connection doesn't slow down. But like I was saying, this is the poetry that we did that was such a classic. This group of beads would be amazing with the poetry, I think, right? And you can look up all of these, those of you guys who are new to watching us on this live broadcast. You'll be able to kind of look up all of these different projects on Bead Shop. But the poetry is essentially flat macrame, as you guys know, like this, with some 3, little beads and some spacers and stuff mixed in. That poetry would be great with this, okay? And then we could do something like, remember this one, the Zen of Fishing, Janice's one that she did? Janice's Zen of Fishing, I think, is a great one for this. Now, this has a lot of really beautiful semi-precious and stuff in it, but you could use a disc for the center, like this, right? And you could do kind of this same knotted technique here. And see, Janice added some seed beads here. I think a really beautiful seed bead that would work with this is the 8-2033. That's the sage, metallic sage, I think it is. It would look amazing with it, right? And you could throw in, again, those daisy spacers here. Janice put chain on the end of hers, right? But that would work out well. Oh, and someone's saying West County cuff. Audrey, yes, I didn't even think about West County cuff, so I didn't bring a sample of it. But yeah, you better believe West County cuff, I think, would look great with some of these, right? Really good. So that's this one, the Zen of Fishing. Then I have, remember when we did that Odyssey? I think it was kind of at the beginning of Shelter in Place. This is one that Krista did. Krista Hennessy did this one and sent it in to us, right? And this Odyssey, Krista's Odyssey project, I just dig it. Because what she did was she used a bunch of large beads on this, right? Including that Happy Donut bead, that 6 cents little spacer, a big, look how the melons kind of go nicely for that carnelian, right? The drop, we don't have a drop in this, but the spindles, all of these would look really amazing. And so see how in these really, like with the big beads, and these have pretty big holes, Krista put 3 strands of cord through here, right? And so you could, and she's watching, Krista's over on the YouTube stream, you could use some, put the cord together so it looks heavier like that. This is a really great piece. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I do too, you guys. It's great. So this would be a perfect interpretation of using pumpkin spice in kind of this Odyssey necklace. So the next one on our drawing board, this is one that I don't know if I ever did a broadcast for it, but this is a necklace that I made to wear at the holidays one year. I love it so much. It's gotten a lot of wear, so it's kind of looking a little worse for wear there, especially that first bead. There we go. I love it. I used the called pie, the big pie disc. Oh, and it looks like, Gwenda, you have a question about what kind of cord. This is on wax linen, and she used the country red wax linen, I think, right? Oh, so maybe I did do this. Gita remembers every live broadcast. We're coming on 4 years, you guys, so that's a lot of broadcasts in my head. But this, I think, this type of necklace like this would be perfect for this. And so you could even use that pie disc, that called pie disc. And you could even do this in a multiple strand. Oh, and Alice, I'm glad that is a favorite of yours. You have the supplies waiting to be made. That's awesome. I love it. You could do this in like 2 strands coming out, right? And that's why I kind of kept our beads kind of separately so I could use them that way. But this is, I love this. And so the actual necklace that I made, I used the swirl button, that cranberry mix. And the cranberry mix does have a tendency to fade over time. You can see this one, I mean, it's been out in the sun and stuff, but I think as it fades, it looks even better. It's not so bright and vibrant. I love it. So, and then these old Cameroon beads, and so this is a fun one. I really like it. So that would work really well with these guys here. You could also size it down, and you could use something like this with the carnelian disc or the green aventurine. Look at how pretty this green works with this too, right? That would look really nice with that. So that's that. Okay. So next on the list here is charm bracelets. Now I have something coming up in a few weeks that is going to be kind of charm bracelet-esque, a project that I've got going. But this is one of Janice's that she did with these really cool like English cuts and stuff. And this one, it's all wire wrapped right onto chain, 3 different chains, you can see that. And then Janice put these dangles of the teardrop bauble on there too. So this kind of a piece, and especially in monochromatics, I think would look great with these with this pumpkin spice mix. Also, I think I did this one last fall. I think it was when we got all the leaves in. You could use this. I think this is, I can't remember which big chain this is. One of our bigger chains, right? And you could just wire wrap all of these and put them on kind of, you know, haphazardly. It looked really cool. You can also string it. And this is one, I don't know, I did this one not that long ago. And this one is strung and chain, but it has the Clio clasp, and I wanted to point that out, right? The Clio clasp, you could just mix all of this up, string this kind of again, you know, in a random order on soft flex. I think it would look really, really great, right? And this one, this chain, this big large loop, that's called Feel Good is the style there, which is great. This is Rustico here. You could do that same thing with our Rustico chain, but this using that Clio clasp, if that Clio is here, and you can just put, right, I don't know, get your bead boards out or not, just string, you know, whatever. Don't let it be too daunting, but you know, put some of your large elements out there and then just string between them. I think it would look great. You could, of course, also, you guys, and you've seen me pull these out before, some of my favorites, my old favorites. This is what I did, what I started when I used the jewel box mix. I started a project like this, which is just one of those long necklaces like this, right? And it goes here, just, you know, in a straight line. Just string randomly. Again, that sage would look great with it. And you can also use the daisy spacers, again, would look great. I also grabbed some hishi, that tribal hishi, which is beautiful. And then also some of the Padre beads. And I grabbed it in red and in orange. which I think would look great with this mix, right? It would look good. I think it would look really good. Then, last but not least, on the idea chain, I pulled these out of my archive. These are these are bracelets that I made, I don't know, a billion years ago. And we don't carry any of these beads online now. They were from my collection at the time. But I wanted to show them to you because I had this trend. I don't know if anyone else had this trend, but in my love of vintage jewelry, I was a big fan of wearing twin bracelets. So you remember back in the day, like in the 20s, 100 years ago, 20s, right? The deco movement was really big, and kind of like that Egyptopia kind of thing was really big and stuff, right, in jewelry. Well, there was that trend of women wearing, like they'd have twin Cartier bracelets, right? Your twin Cartier diamond bracelets or whatever. Well, I was never that fancy, but I would make bracelets, twin bracelets. I know it's kind of Wonder Woman-esque too, a little bit, right? But I would wear these. Let me take this off. You can see how old these are because they're a lot smaller than I wear now. I don't even know if I could close them. Not quite. I was a little slimmer back in the day, right? Oh yeah, 2 watches, Gita. You wore 2 watches. I wore 2 watches. Totally. It was that total trend. But right, so Art Deco cuffs, right? And so that long center bar, right? Those are kind of hard to find. We used to carry those at Bead Shop back in the day. And yeah, I love this color. This kind of Egyptopia kind of feel to it. Yeah, this color is just, it's so deco to me, right? So the way that these work, right? The way that you could do these and I think that this collection would be like really amazing with twin bracelets, right? So if you did, like, you have to really count these out though, okay? So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, and then so I've got 2, 4, 5. I've got 10 per bracelet, right? So you have to start thinking, like, where are you going to spend that real estate? Okay, so if I'm looking at this and I've got these 2 here and I've got these 2 here, maybe this it's not going to work if we have a bar going down the center, and I'm going to show you what we'd use for that, right? But you could do this, and then you could save this for like a dangle off the side would be amazing, right? And then however you'd spend them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. So I've got 7, 2, 4, 6, 7. 2, 4, 6, 7. So again, I would use that even, or you could cut them and do them randomly too, right? They don't have to be laid out, but you can think about, but the cool part of this is on these cuff bracelets that it is so laid out like this, right? And so you use kind of your, you use color to really kind of, color block things out. Like, look at that. And then like that one could go in there. And you could just do them with 3 strands. So this is one that I had. It's really nice and tarnished. But this is one that I did with crystal, and it's just a 3-strander, right? So sometimes I would put those 3-stranders together on one arm, right? And so you could do that with just our 3-strand clasp as well, right? And so you could put those guys in there, and then you could have these guys go, and you just kind of puzzle it out, right? And kind of figure out how all of these line up. But you have to do that. If I'm spending a bead on one bracelet, you have to put it aside to spend on another. So you can see, you can kind of start to lay them out and stuff, right? So it's really fun. It's really fun that way. So let me show you and you can still find these bars. They don't make them like they used to. It would be fun for us to find a nice bar like this, but in lieu of that, and something that I used a lot of when I was making these, I made a ton of these, and I think I probably even taught a class on it way back in the day when we were a brick and mortar store. But this is our run along chain, okay? And the run along, what you would do, I'm gonna really tighten in here so you can see this. You can use the run along as a spacer bar, okay? It's perfect for it. Let me get like some head pins so you can see it. Okay. Yeah, I should do a broadcast on this on Kate's Deco Cuff. It would be pretty fun, right? So here is, let me see if I can pin this down. There we go. It's a little bit easier for you to see if I tighten this up like this, right? And so can you see how this run along chain has a definite link that's going in one direction and then another link that's 90 degrees to it. So if I put wires through those links, every other link, you can see that's where your thread will go, okay? And you would string through those links, and that would be your closure. Now, something that's even cooler when you use chain like this is you can wire wrap a dangle on the very top and the very bottom of it, so it has a little bit of movement to it as well. So if these were your strands, right, and another strand in that one, so that would be 2, 4, that would be for a 5-strander. You could wire wrap a little dangle on that top loop and on the bottom loop there as well, and that would give it even more movement. And that's exactly right. Gita was asking about would I use Softflex. I would exactly use Softflex, and that's what I've used for these. These are so old, they're before like crimp covers and wire guards, right? But you can see this is, I don't know, these are probably almost 20 years old, judging by the size of my wrist, right? But yeah, Softflex would be perfect. And then can you see here 2, 4, 6, 7? This is a 7-strander, and notice how the clasp is only a 5-strander. So I put a single strand at the end of both of these and a single strand down the middle, and then did the 2 there and a 2 there, right? So you can use this 5-strander, right? You could use this 5-strander clasp like this, but put multiple strands on it, and you just have to taper down, and that's what I did here at the end with this little rondelle bead and that round bead there. So yeah, easy to do, and lots of fun. It's like working out a little puzzle. Okay, so that's how you would do that. So I think that this mix really lends itself beautifully to that technique. Okay, you guys, I think that the internet has managed to hold through this broadcast. So thank you for sticking with me. You know, there was so many things that I couldn't go over in this with this collection and when in this piece. So so thank you for sticking in there. I can see a piece of lint. There we go. Got to get that off of the screen. Where's my PA? Where's my makeup assistant? Right? There we go. Take the lint off of you. So let me tell you a little bit. I know that there are some new people watching, and it's awesome to have all of you new guys here with us today. You can find us. All of our info is out on social, right? So you can find us over on Instagram at beadshop.com. That's where Drea dropped a really big hint about this mix the other day, yesterday, right? And you can find us, of course, on the Bead Table, our bead shop group, which a lot of fun stuff goes on over there. We gather around the bead table and be creative. Of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel, you guys. I would love to have you subscribe to that. The more subscribers we have, the more people find us, and it really helps our small business continue to flourish, right? And as well as, you guys, you can find all the information for the project and the products from today's broadcast on our website. So you just go right over to beadshop.com, right? And you can sign up for our newsletter for the latest discounts, giveaways, and new products. If you guys will remember, my birthday week was like this crazy like newsletter extravaganza, and we did something every day. It was really, really fun. And there was the collection dropped right in the newsletter. So this morning everybody saw that and was ready for it, right? And so the newsletter is a great way for us to stay connected. Dria's doing pulling some of the recipes that people have been sharing in our bead shop group. She's pulling those into the newsletter, which is kind of fun. And so we've got a lot of cool stuff coming over there. We're also coming up on our 4-year anniversary of our Bead Shop Live broadcasts. I can't believe that it's been 4 years. I've been doing this twice a week for 4 years. It's crazy to think about. So we're going to have to add up all the broadcast numbers and see how many of these lives that we've done. But that's coming up. So we're going to have some kind of celebration for that as well. So for next week, you guys, is another... Gita always knows this, October 26th. That is our 4-year anniversary. Gita, you're so good. Well, you have been with us here, Gita, since the very, very beginning. So we so appreciate you commenting and linking over on our Facebook page. We thank you. We couldn't do it without you. So so we're going to be doing something fun with that. So next week we have your favorite seed beater and mine. Our Emily Miller is coming, and you guys have asked and asked and asked to learn how to do that diagonal peyote so you can do the Russian leaves project. It's coming next week with a handout from Emily and 2 beautiful colorways and 2 days of instruction. So Emily's going to be with us here on Wednesday and on Friday. And after those 2 broadcasts, you and me, because I've never done it before, I'm going to learn right along with her, will it'll accumulate into some amazing beautiful leaf earrings. They're going to be great. So so that's going to be good times. So and Alice is saying, what a ride it has been. I know some of you have been watching every day, right? Every broadcast for 4 years. We've been hanging out on Wednesdays and Fridays. So we super appreciate that, you guys. You guys have kept our small business running through the good times and the bad times. And so we really, really appreciate all of your support, because without you out there, us here at beadshop.com, we couldn't do what we love to do, which is share the love of beads and creating with you guys. So I'm going to see all y'all on Wednesday with Emily. The kits go back in, my empty bag, the kits go back in at noon, so you've got about a half hour to get ready for that. They go back in at noon Pacific time, right? And so we have the other half that are going in. They sold out pretty quickly the first time, so don't dilly-dally. If you're going to get one, jump on. I mean, if you're watching this later, we may have a few left, so go and check it. But and there'll be more curated collections from me coming down the pike. So if you're watching this later and we're out of it, don't sweat it. There's always another mix coming down the pike from me. Okay, so it's okay. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'll see you on Wednesday with Emily, and it's Friday. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. And remember, oh, this is a new one. Before I sign off, Gita, as you know, is over in Denmark. So some of my Kate-isms or Americanisms, like dilly-dally, don't always translate. So dilly-dally, Gita, right for you means don't wait, or don't, there's another one, don't hem and haw, right? Just make your decision and go with it. That's what it means. So, anyways, I will see you on Wednesday. And remember, things are still going on out there, right? So what do? We continue to wash our hands all the time. We wear our masks when we go outside. We follow the science. We keep our social distancing up. And together we are going to beat this global pandemic and stay healthy so we can bead and be creative together. So thank you guys ever so. And I will see you next Wednesday with Emily for Diagonal Peyote. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great weekend.